The fairy tale didn't just crack, it echoed through Hollywood like a champagne glass shattering on marble, and suddenly everyone was whispering the same question. Did Netflix just quietly show Meghan Markle the door? Because here's the tea that has the industry buzzing. Not in press releases, not in polished PR statements, but in hushed conversations behind glass conference room walls. A prestige deal that once sounded like a golden crown jewel is now being talked about like a cautionary tale. How did this go so wrong? Case study passed between executives over oat milk lattes. And the numbers, became the villain of the story. According to widely circulated commentary about the situation, the performance of Meghan's lifestyle content didn't match the massive expectations that were sold with it. In the ruthless world of streaming, where algorithms are judge and jury, perception is nice, but viewership is everything. And when a platform that spends billions on content starts asking quiet questions instead of planning loud renewals, you know the fairy dust has worn off. But what really turned this from a simple show didn't land moment into full-blown industry gossip was the alleged fallout behind the scenes. Because the story being told in media circles isn't just about ratings, it's about reactions. Instead of a quiet regroup, insiders claim there were tense conversations, emotional stakes, and a deep frustration over how public narratives around her personal life kept colliding with her professional projects. The idea floating around is that Meghan didn't just want a platform. She wanted protection, partnership, and loyalty at a level studios usually reserve for billion-dollar franchises. And that's where the clash of realities supposedly happened. Streaming companies are machines. Cold, data-driven, brutally unsentimental machines. They don't do emotional rescue missions. They don't manage family drama. They don't rewrite tabloid cycles. They measure completion rates, subscriber retention, and global reach. So when the expectations on one side were deeply personal and the standards on the other were purely performance-based, the gap between those worlds may have become impossible to bridge. Hollywood has a phrase for this: star power versus platform power, and platform power always wins. What makes this saga so irresistible to gossip watchers is the symbolism. Meghan and Harry's Netflix deal was once framed as a seismic shift, royalty entering the streaming age, prestige meeting pop culture, a power couple rewriting the rules. It was supposed to be a new empire. Instead, critics now frame it as a lesson in how hype can outpace audience interest. And when momentum stalls in entertainment, perception flips fast. 1 minute you're a visionary, the next you're overexposed. 1 minute you're a global voice, the next executives are wondering if the audience has quietly moved on. That shift, that silent cooling, is what insiders say really stung. Because it's not just rejection, it's irrelevance that Hollywood fears most. Hate watching is still watching, controversy still trends, but indifference? That's the kiss of death. Meanwhile, the timing couldn't have been messier. As Meghan's projects were under scrutiny, Harry was across the ocean locked in courtroom battles, reliving years of press grievances and public testimony. Instead of a united brand moment, the headlines split in two directions: legal drama on one side, entertainment questions on the other. For a couple that built their post-royal identity around controlling their narrative, the narrative suddenly felt out of their hands. And that loss of control is the through line in all the chatter. Because whether you love her, hate her, or just watch from the sidelines with popcorn, Meghan Markle has always operated from a place of intense narrative awareness. Image matters, framing matters, messaging matters. But streaming platforms don't run on narrative, they run on numbers. And numbers don't care about intention, only attention. So now the gossip mill says a pivot is coming. Reinvention. A new lane. Lifestyle. Fashion, branding, the classic celebrity reset when Hollywood doors don't swing open as easily as before. It's not defeat, not in her mind, not in her team's messaging. It's evolution, expansion, entrepreneurial redirection. But critics see a pattern: big announcement, huge expectations, lukewarm delivery, quiet fade, repeat. Still, here's the twist nobody can ignore. Meghan has built a career on surviving narrative collapses. From actress to duchess, from duchess to exile, from exile to media mogul. Every time the spotlight dims, she finds a new stage. So while commentators are calling this the end of an era, others are betting it's just intermission. Because in celebrity culture, humiliation is rarely final. It's just content for the next comeback. And somewhere in Montecito, behind gates and manicured hedges, plans are already forming. New pitches, new partners, new angles. Because if there's one thing this saga proves, it's that Meghan Markle doesn't exit quietly. She rebrands loudly. The only real question is whether the audience still wants to watch. And just when it seemed like the credits were about to roll, the plot twisted again. Because in the world of celebrity reinvention, endings are just rebrands waiting to happen. While critics online were tallying view counts and declaring the Netflix chapter a flop, whispers inside lifestyle and fashion circles suggested Meghan wasn't retreating, she was pivoting. Fast. Because if Hollywood doesn't clap, maybe the fashion houses will. If streaming numbers don't sparkle, maybe brand partnerships will. That's the new storyline being floated, not dropped, not failed, but evolving into a lifestyle powerhouse. It's the kind of spin that sounds bold on a vision board. But in the real world, lifestyle empires are built on obsessive consistency, product pipelines, and years of audience trust, not just name recognition. Gwyneth Paltrow didn't build her brand in a season. It took newsletters, niche products, raised eyebrows, and relentless positioning before it became a business juggernaut. Jessica Alba didn't just wake up to $1 billion wellness brand. It took supply chains, retail deals, and actual consumer loyalty. And that's where skeptics raise their perfectly groomed brows. Because Meghan's brand, love her or loathe her, has always been personality-driven, narrative-driven, spotlight-driven. But lifestyle brands live or die on product credibility. People might watch drama for entertainment, but they buy candles, creams, and cookware because they trust the source. The leap from famous to founder people swear by is bigger than it looks on Instagram. Still, sources in celebrity media insist she's convinced the audience is there. Millions of women supposedly waiting to dress like her, cook like her, live like her. And in fairness, celebrity influence is a real thing. Outfits sell out, lipsticks go viral, a single post can move product. But turning that flash influence into a lasting company, that's a marathon in designer heels. Meanwhile, the personal side of the story keeps bleeding into the professional one, and that's the part insiders say makes business partners nervous. Because Meghan and Harry aren't just a couple. They're a constant headline. Legal battles, family rifts, public statements, documentaries, interviews. The drama cycle never really sleeps. For audiences, that's compelling. For corporations, it's risky. Brands like predictability. They like ambassadors who sell candles, not controversy. And then there's Harry, whose own battles with the press keep reigniting the same narrative storm they both say they're trying to escape. Court appearances, legal filings, emotional testimony. Every time he steps into a courtroom, the global media spotlight swings back onto their past, not their future. Some observers say that's the core tension of their post-royal life. They want privacy, but their power and their income comes from publicity. They want distance from the drama, but their projects keep reopening it. It's like trying to outrun a shadow while live streaming the chase. Friends of friends in Montecito gossip circles describe a bubble effect, a tight world where criticism is dismissed as jealousy, failure is reframed as sabotage, and every setback is someone else's fault. Whether that's fair or not, it's a narrative gaining traction, that the couple's inner circle reinforces belief instead of reality, and Hollywood is brutal about reality. Because the town runs on momentum, heat, buzz. The sense that someone is rising, not just reacting. Once the perception flips, once someone is seen as more trouble than triumph, invitations slow down. Calls don't get returned as fast. Will circle back becomes code for we're moving on. That's the danger zone Meghan is rumored to be navigating now. But here's the part that keeps the story alive. She's never been someone who disappears quietly. Every time the public consensus hardens, she zigzags. Actress to duchess, duchess to disruptor, disruptor to producer, producer to whatever comes next. And make no mistake, something is coming next. A brand launch, a product line, a glossy relaunch campaign positioning her not as a fallen media figure, but as a modern founder who learned, grew, and refocused. The script practically writes itself. The question isn't whether she'll try again, it's whether the audience will buy in this time. Because audiences have long memories now. They remember the interviews, the deals, the headlines, the promises of groundbreaking content. They remember the hype. And when hype doesn't match delivery, trust erodes a little more each round. Still, celebrity culture loves a comeback almost as much as it loves a downfall. Redemption arcs trend. Reinventions go viral. A single successful project can rewrite years of narrative. Hollywood may be ruthless, but it's also addicted to second acts. So Meghan stands at a crossroads that's equal parts risk and opportunity. Double down on image and hope influence converts to income. Or step back, rebuild quietly, and return with something so undeniably good, the critics have to swallow their smirks. Right now, the gossip machine says she's choosing the first path, bold, visible, unapologetic. Betting that star power plus persistence eventually beats bad press and weak numbers. Betting that the public's fascination, even when it's skeptical, is still a form of currency. And maybe that's the real twist in this whole saga. Because love her or roll your eyes at the mention of her name, people are still talking, still clicking, still arguing in comment sections. Indifference may be Hollywood's worst nightmare, but Meghan Markle, for better or worse, rarely inspires indifference. So as one chapter closes in awkward silence, another is already being teased behind velvet curtains. New aesthetic, new messaging, same central figure, convinced the world hasn't seen her final form yet. And in the glittering cutthroat theater of fame, sometimes belief, stubborn, unshakable belief, is the one asset nobody can cancel.